Welcome to another episode of Educating Homebuyers, the podcast. I'm your host, Brady, and my mortgage team has over 9 years of mortgage experience here in Des Moines, Iowa. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, investing, or simply just curious about the market, this show is all about helping you and future homebuyers feel informed, educated, and comfortable as you take your next step. Each week, I sit down with real estate professionals, past clients, and local experts to unpack real stories, real advice, and what you actually need to know when buying a home today. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Today's guest is a Des Moines-area real estate agent with RE/MAX Concepts, who's all about building real relationships and providing real value. As a Polk City native and UNI business grad, she brings a deep love for the community and a passion for helping people. Whether it's finding their dream home or just making a meaningful connection, she's a go-getter and a go-giver. Someone who truly believes that everything in life is built on relationships. Sydnee Raggy, welcome to Educating Homebuyers.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Yes.
We've been talking about it for a couple weeks, I guess, now since we originally scheduled it, but excited to have you share your story about how you got into real estate and just provide some valuable content for the listeners and, just real life, true, authentic value add for people that are watching. So
absolutely.
Let's start off with that. Just kind of give you a platform. So you graduated from UNI.
Yep.
Majored in business, right? I don't want to steal your thunder, I guess, but
2020 COVID grad.
Okay.
So at the time I knew before going into college that I wanted to get into real estate at some point in my life.
So talk about your heart behind that. Where did that first pop into your mind?
Well, so my dad actually is a licensed agent. He doesn't really do it full time anymore. Okay. So I had kind of gone with him and to some showings before. I'd seen him written up an offer. Okay. And from then, I really was kind of hooked on, the fact that this is more of a long-term sale, a long-term relationship building. The fact that, the couple he was helping was expecting their first kid. And I just thought that was so exciting. So I was kind of hooked on that immediately. Okay. And then, but knew at the end of the day, I was like, I really want the college experience. Sure. I do want to, and I would never trade that for the world. Yeah. Even after valuable paying all the student loans for now. I wouldn't say no reason. I would pay to have that experience all over again.
No doubt.
But from there, I was really just not into the more selling like a product of any kind, but I was really intrigued by the sales and marketing process. Like I knew that was kind of where I wanted to end up. So did sales and marketing at UNI. Okay. And then that was what my major was. And then at the time it was, everybody apply for a job that's not going to get revoked in the next 2 weeks because we don't know what's going to happen with the world. Yeah. So then I took a job working in logistics, selling freight to truck drivers, which if you know me now, that's like the last thing you could ever see me doing was horrible. Just it's a good industry to be in if you're good at it. And it's very male dominated too. Okay. So just wasn't working out. But again, it was like, okay, what do I do? So about 10 months in, I was super miserable. And I reached out to a good friend, Shane Torres, also one of our owners at RE/MAX Concepts. I said, do you know of anybody hiring? Assistant work, part-time work, anything. I will start from the ground up. Because prior to that, 2 years before, I was his intern at his office for a summer. Okay. So I got to just see the whole
to it.
Yes. So that was really solidifying for me too. I'm like, I kind of like how you can do whatever you want, but you have the flexibility and freedom to make your business however you want. Yes. And I was like, what do you know of anything? Mm-hmm. Almost like within seconds, he replied, yes, actually, I need you to be an assistant for my other owner, Matt Morrow, who I work under now. Yep. And so he kind of helped me get my foot in the door with it. Started out as Matt's assistant. I did that for full time about a year. Okay. Then got licensed that winter, I believe. So got licensed and it only took me about 90 days because I was really motivated. Yeah. I'm like, I want to do this.
Let's make it happen.
I'm ready to. Loved creating all the marketing for everyone else. And I was like, all right, I want this to be me now. Yeah. And then started weaning off of being the assistant and selling full time, which is also a whole nother thing. Yep. It took a good year and a half to do that. Mm-hmm. But then I was really trying to leverage the fact that I have so many friends who are starting to look at houses. Yeah. Actually, I had two of my very good friends now who bought with someone else because I wasn't licensed yet. And of course I would never hold that against them, but they were very, we're going to buy, but when I wish you were licensed, whatever. And that was what really, I was like, okay,
it's time.
I don't want to see another one of my very best friends buy with someone else or not think of me. I really my favorite part of this business is actually helping your friends and family, even though it can be tricky at times.
Sure.
But
I think the point there is like, it's not just because you want, it's like an easy lead or anything like that. It's like, no, you want to represent them in the best way.
Yes.
Right. And they, the kind of service they deserve and the guidance that they need. And seeing them not maybe get that, or, not saying that the people they worked with didn't provide that, but you being able to be that direct resource is something that I will sell you from my perspective. You do an incredible job at. Like I've seen the way that you work with your database and your clients and the people that you care about the most, and your heart through that is apparent when when you walk them through the home buying process. Yeah. So,
and I really try not to ever because I understand when people want business and friends.
Of course.
I respect that.
Yeah.
However, I don't try and turn off any sort of my professionalism for my friends. Like I'll guide you through the transaction the same exact way.
Yeah.
Not going to be very certain things. Maybe, I don't know, when it's like, I can maybe text them this question versus, hey, do you have time for a call or something?
Of course.
But I don't treat it any differently.
Yeah.
I don't plan to. Everyone is going to get the equal playing field.
Yeah. And on the flip side, if it's a client that you're representing or working with that's not somebody you've met before or know, you're going to treat them just like a friend, and you're going to give them that caring aspect of like, hey, I've been through this with my friends. This is the way I would treat them. You deserve the same thing. And I think that's a huge competitive advantage, when working with brand new people that you've never met before. So,
and I bet maybe you can agree with this too. I do not like when I can sense that a transaction or someone I'm selling or buying a home with or through whatever is transactional.
Right.
I hate the feeling of that because but at the same time, there just are people out there who operate that way.
For sure.
They don't want to be my friend after. They don't want, they don't
Which
care to hear after, and that's okay. But something I've been recently trying to get over is that, they don't
might not be the right fit.
And that doesn't mean that they hate me. I'm doing the right thing still. I'm getting them into their new home chapter. But when I can kind of sense that, they're not giving me the same energy back, I wonder if that means, and I don't know, do you kind of agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And there's, listen, everybody has different personalities, right? And I think that the way that you and I do business is very similar in that sense. And, other people will receive that differently depending on their personality types. But I would agree with you that like the closer we can get, and frankly, this is a big point that I'm making recently with my clients, is like I have a process built for how the experience should go and how it'll go well. And when I have clients that allow me to go through that process and take them through it step by step, whether it's the upfront buyer consultation or the loan estimate video or whatever it is, the clients that allow me to go through that process, they have a better experience.
Yeah.
Like they're more willing to give a 5-star review. Or on the flip side, if maybe I get involved in a transaction later in the game and, maybe they don't give me the time to have an in-person meeting with them or a video call with them, and I'm not as thorough in going through their goals, it ends up being, maybe a little bit more of a hairy process. They're not as satisfied, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I think that the biggest thing that I had to realize personally is like, if somebody's not willing to let me go through that process, it just might not be the right fit.
Right. Or they just might not be as serious yet.
Yeah.
And that's another hard, I think there's a fine line there because I think they need to be pushed to come do those things. Like, hey, this is how the process works. It's not just, you walk into an open house and you buy that house on the spot. Not typically. There's a lot more to it. You should surround it's like who you surround yourself is who you are. So work with a realtor who you are like-minded with, a loan officer you are like-minded with, who do you communicate the same with, stuff like that.
No doubt.
So when I can sense that things are a little more transactional or, I really try not to take it too personally, but that's what I've been working on lately.
What would you say is the easiest way to overcome that? Is like, do you just kind of roll with the punches, or is it like, what kind of process have you built, I guess, to kind of meet your clients where they are, if that makes sense?
I try, I wouldn't say I have an exact process.
Okay.
I just kind of bring it back to how communication is. I'm like, okay, I've done everything I can. There isn't more that I couldn't tell them or more I couldn't update them on.
Sure.
It's probably just how they work, you know.
What would be your recommendation to a client then? Like, what is the like number one tip that comes to mind to like make the process as smooth as possible? Is there anything that comes to mind that it's like, if I were a client buying a house, this is my number one recommendation?
I would say, I always just say my phone's always open too. Like, and that's actually something I've kind of implemented from you. You were like, this is the level of service I want to provide. So I do try and get to your text questions immediately or whenever. Obviously we work weird hours. So just trying to make them feel as comfortable as possible. I think that goes for everyone and everything. You're going to buy a car, anything. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. So I always just try and level with them, try and, meet them where they might be feeling like, hey, I can tell this is like probably scary for you. So, but just text me if you have any questions.
Right. And also for them to understand that like they don't have to know all the answers and like have it all figured out.
Shouldn't.
Like we're here to help you navigate those things.
You're not supposed to. Yeah. What you heard on a realtor's reel out in Los Angeles or on
could
selling
be entirely
Sunset,
different than here.
The Des Moines market is day and night different.
For sure.
And that's I feel like the hardest part with our industry is people are reading news headlines of things and like the Des Moines market is so much different.
It's a very, very protected market for sure.
Yeah.
So kind of on that point, I think it's a great transition and we can touch on it as high or low level as you'd like, but give the listeners an update on like, what have you been seeing out there when you're out working with your clients? How's the market been? Keep in mind when this posts, it'll probably be a couple weeks out yet.
Yeah.
So just know that some of this information may be a little bit dated based on the recording date, but would love to give an inside look at like, how have your clients' offers been going? What have you seen both from a buying and listing side of things? What's things looking like in Des Moines?
Yeah, definitely think we're switching a little bit more towards a buyer's market. Okay. Granted, what do they say? The first time home buyer market's about 30% of the market or 33% of the market usually. Okay. So things about 300 and under, if you got a solid home, meaning basically just not an entire renovation project or fixer upper, it's probably going to move pretty quick. Okay. If your home is priced right, is it going to fly off the market? No, it's not 2020, not 2021. Okay.
What's your definition of fly off the market? Like, what would you say average days on market are?
I would say about less than 3, because they say the best day I think to list is a Thursday. Okay. Usually get all the people coming in from out of town, bringing in, let's plan a trip there now because we're looking to move to Des Moines. You hopefully get a good open house turnout, hopefully sold by the weekend. Got it. I would say that's maybe flying off the market or just...
So 3 days or less is like a really fast sale. Yes. Is what you would say.
Yeah. Okay. But if your home is priced right, and you get it sold within 2 to 3 weeks, that's a success. Yeah. That is 21 days and under. I mean, that is a huge success. A huge win. Yeah. 2021 has really skewed a lot of sellers' minds, and I think a lot of them are still hoping for that. But definitely seeing more in offers, even a home that's been on the market for 1 to 2, 3 days, where I would consider flying off the market, you still might not get your asking price. Yeah. And you're probably going to get a closing costs or seller credits. Yeah. And 2-3 years ago, we weren't really seeing that. Right. So to sellers who are looking at offers, I just try and say it's nothing to get offended about. This is just buyers are trying to get a little more savvy, as they should. Yeah. I mean, it's just the shift.
Creativity. Yeah.
So yeah.
And affordability is still a big question mark for a lot of buyers, right? And so they're trying to navigate that, make sure they're comfortable with the payment, how much they put down, things like that. So
that too is, there's other things to consider. If you have, a buyer who wants to offer a lot less, it's been on the market for 30 days and they still want to offer under asking. I say, well, other things still have to make sense because then we're figuring out logistics after we're getting, okay, well, maybe these sellers, they need to be out in 30 days, but you guys are asking for 60 days to move in. So other things have to make sense.
I think that's a super strong point to drive home, is like everybody's situation is different. Yep. So coming in with an aggressive offer that is, at listing price, but it's a quick closing, may not be the most attractive thing to that seller because maybe they haven't found their next house they're going to move into, right? So working with your real estate agent who can communicate at a high level with the listing agent to figure out like what's motivating your seller,
That's
right?
huge
in
too.
order to make your offer the most attractive as possible, right?
Communicating enough with the listing agent is also very important. I think almost because in the way, you know, if I'm posting, oh, I've got a listing coming, I'm thinking, oh, okay, I know these agents, huge Altoona agents.
Sure.
I want them to see my social media posts about it.
Sure.
Because in a way, you're selling to them too.
No doubt.
Because you then know how they work and how they work with their clients. If my goal is to get my clients the most smooth transaction and meet their goals, move into their next chapter, it's working with the right people.
Yeah.
So yeah, trusting your realtor to say, okay, well, they know, or they may know how the agent works on the other end.
Yeah,
they
I've
know
worked with
how
this person a bunch of times, or they're out of my office. Like I know them, and you know, we can handle that.
I know their negotiating tactics. I know they're more, you know, hard-headed, king of the hill. I'm going to win.
Sure.
Or they're more soft, and we can see how. No, I wouldn't say soft's the right word, but a little more
understanding.
Yeah, they'll look at more. They'll get a little more creative, like we will, because I'm all about getting creative to make everyone a little bit. All right, well, this works for us. This works for them. But where are we going to meet in the middle on certain things? Or where are we going to sacrifice certain things? So
I had a client question that I think is going to be a great point to touch on, and I don't mean to put you on the spot because I gave you absolutely no preparation for this, but had a client reach out yesterday, and his biggest question, and this is something that I kind of take for granted being a industry professional, but the big question that he had was, this is my first time selling a property and buying a new one. So would you give an opportunity to walk through what does that process look like when you sell and buy at the same time, and how do we transfer those funds?
100% what I walk through. I am always like, when do you feel the best time? And I always just say, don't be afraid of how it looks. I walk into a million dirty houses. I walk into a million houses in the middle of chaos with kids moving. So I always just say, don't care what I think. But I usually start with, okay, let's look at what you have now. So have you made any updates? You know, what's your situation? Gone through. I always walk through, and then I give a comparative market analysis, a CMA, aka what I think we should list at. Some realtors come before with that. I like to see the condition of the home first.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And I don't like giving them a number before I actually kind of do a little more due diligence.
Online photos aren't going to do a property justice.
Exactly. And, you know, maybe it's not in the greatest shape, and I'm not going to you're not hiring and paying me to tell you what you want to hear.
Or what online says. Like you're going to do your proper research and vet the property.
So, but I do try and get it a quick turnaround, because that is what is at the front of their mind. Well, how much are we going to get for our house, so we know what to put down? So then from there, I kind of say, well, if we list it this time, take advantage of this market at this price, I give them an estimate of proceeds. It's an actual document of like breakdown of everything. And it is pretty darn close of what they're going to be taking. I even budget it like, possible inspection repairs and really prepare them for that. And then usually the best way to do that is list it subject to home of choice. So we can then kind of look, you obviously can get a pre-approval done once you know what you're probably going to be taking home from your sale. And then from there, we can actually kind of budget and start looking. And then that way you get an offer on your house. Well, they want to close in 30 days. Well, there's actually no close date yet until we find something. So it will be quick moving. So I try and be upfront about that. Be like, it could be, especially if it's like, we know, cute Beaverdale brick under 300,000. Great. It's going to go fast. So, well, let's start looking before we list, because then we'll probably know. Can we always say no? Yeah. I mean, it's like we plan and the universe laughs. So try not to be too
by the book.
Yeah,
for sure.
But for sure, going through their house and seeing what they have. And then also telling them and being more honest about what they need to do. Hey, let's touch up the paint. Hey, let's fill the cracks in your foundation that might be an eyesore for no reason to a buyer or an inspector or whatever. Things that they need to get done, and just trying to be upfront, and then also giving a hard deadline. Okay, how do you feel about this plan? Is it feasible to get this done in 2 weeks? 30 days, whatever you need. Okay, at that point, then we'll touch base, and then we'll get looking, hit it hard. And we work weekends too. So it's like, okay, you got your house on the market Thursday, or we're looking that weekend. So
I like it. Yeah. And that's, I think the two big question marks, they're like, how do I how do I live in my home, but also prepare it to sell?
Yeah.
But then the other big question that a lot of people have when you're selling a home and buying a new one is, what does it look like financially? How do I come up with the money for that? Which is what the estimate of proceeds will break down as far as when you sell your home, with costs and fees and everything that it costs to sell your property. Here's what you'd take home. And then to touch on just real quick, how that money gets transferred to the new property, assuming you're taking out a mortgage on the new home you're buying.
Yeah.
The simplest route, assuming that everything lines up and you close in the same day, which is a question mark depending on the timing of everybody. But the way that works is, a lot of times, if you close in the same day, you just bring the check of your profit to the closing of your new one, sign it over to the mortgage company or the closer, and then off that money goes to your down payment. If you put, let's say you profit more than you want to put down, we'll cut you a check back for the difference. There's a really easy way to navigate that. That's all if it all happens in the same day. Another quick point that I touched on with this client was like, are you comfortable with owning 2 properties at the same time? Like if you are... if you've got your eye on a property that is the perfect fit for you and like you've got no option or no choice, but like, hey, this is the house for me. Are you comfortable with buying that house without selling your existing? Which is another conversation that we'll go over. Or
can you?
Yeah.
That's why
financially,
I'm like,
can you support that?
And that's when I almost just always repeat to a lender, because then there also might be other factors in that. Oh, well, I just switched jobs and now I'm solely commission where prior I wasn't.
Yep.
Okay, well, we might need more verified funds or something. Right. So that's why I always, lean. And same with when it goes for the stress of, because selling can be extremely stressful, especially if you have young kids, dogs, all the things. And I think it's easy for some buyers to forget that this is someone's home. This is not just
they're living here.
Their couch they're trying to sell on Facebook Marketplace or something.
Right.
So the leaning on a realtor and a loan officer you trust enough to ask questions to know that then, okay, well, we'll communicate to who we need to. I'll communicate with the buyer's agent. Hey, please be mindful that they have 2 young kids or they've got all these factors in play. So, or,
I always say too, I can't stress enough that we work on your timeline.
Yes.
So it's never something where like, if you reach out and you say, we're going to buy our house or we want to sell our house, it's not like you're going to say, all right, we're going to have it listed tomorrow. Like listen, we can make that happen if that's something that needs to happen. But on the flip side, know and understand that we're here to help you navigate this as slowly or as quickly as you want to.
Yes.
And we work on their timeline.
Almost exactly what I say too. I'm like, we can get it on in 2 days at the least or however long you need. Yep. It doesn't affect me and my life. If you want to sell in 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months.
We're here to help.
That's just feeling. And again, it goes back to making them feel comfortable enough to say, there are no dumb questions, please. Like, this is what we do for a living and a job.
And if you've done it 50 times or this is your first time, you're still going to have questions.
Oh my gosh. And they're still going to be different. Cause I've got some clients who have moved basically like every 2 to 3 years, and I would say they're like newish clients of mine, but like every time it's been so different. So we don't know. And they've moved different states and towns. And
when the market changes, right? Like if you were to buy your first house in 2020 and then you buy your second house in 2025, you're facing 2 entirely different hurdles and transactions, And this guy that I talked to yesterday, he's selling his first house that he bought 20 years ago.
Wow.
Like, can you imagine how much different the real estate and the mortgage process is than 20 years ago? It's entirely different.
And that was his first house he bought, and he's been in it for 20 years.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's breaking a statistic
kind of cool.
there.
Yeah. And so
awesome.
that's great for him. He's built a great amount of equity and he's excited to move up into the next steps of their life. But it's just an entirely different process. And what our job is to stay informed on things that change and make sure that with platforms like this, we're sharing, different tips on how to navigate it in the best way.
Yeah. So. And I love when people spark conversations off of our social media posts, like, hey, what does that actually mean? And I'm like, oh, I love when people are paying attention, actually curious, because
how often do people just scroll right by?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, we're trying to
if you're seeing
make
this,
it as relatable.
Like and subscribe.
Or if you have questions, reach out.
But that's, when I asked you before we jumped on, is there any point that you want to drive home? And I think that was the big point that you made is make sure that people know we're here as a resource.
Yep.
Don't ever hesitate to reach out.
It's such a small thing, but hearing, oh, we didn't want to bother you, or, oh, I know you're busy. It's like, this is what we do for a job.
Right.
This is my,
and we love it, right?
Yes.
That's the other cool part is this, again, I keep bringing up this guy, but this just fresh on my mind. This guy I talked to yesterday, he was like asking me when I could connect next or set up a meeting. And I was like, honestly, I work when my eyes are open, which is and he's like, well, I'll respect that. I said, no, honestly, I don't want you to, because I'm a better person after I have conversations with great people, you know, and that's why I love my job, is because I get to have great conversations with great people, whether it's sitting in front of this camera or on the phone or at my office, whatever it is. I get to interact with great people for a living and help guide them through this. And like, I don't ever want somebody to hesitate to reach out to me because of that feature. Yeah.
And actually the first time I ever met you when we went to lunch was, you said real estate's this industry is just a lifestyle. So if you're like not committed to making it a lifestyle, then it's probably not for you. And that's so true. Yeah. But I also think there's no harm in saying, hey, I'm going to be off the grid for about 2 days.
People totally respect that.
And they respect that.
Yep.
Again, communication.
Without a doubt.
Communicate that to them. They should never not know. Well, are they going to be whatever?
It's an expectation thing.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, the other thing I always tell people is like, if something comes up or you need me during my time off, I've got support.
Yep.
And people that will help.
Yep.
And that's where like,
not going to leave you hanging.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's when my sort of anxiety kicks in, because I'm currently in the process of planning a wedding, and the fact it's taken like 3 to 4 days to hear back from some people when we're getting so close to our date has been like, wow, okay, now I kind of see how it can feel if you don't know. So don't ever want that.
And we always want to make sure that we're improving our process. So if there's ever anything that somebody sees where there's a hole in it, or, you know, any sort of things that we could fix, just let us know. We want to be better. We want to be at the highest level for all the people we get to help.
Absolutely.
So, well, this has been awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for being a valuable resource. This has been a great episode.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously look forward to many conversations off camera as well. Thank you for all the clients and stuff that we have been able to help. But thanks for tuning into another episode. I'll be sure to link Sydnee's information in the description below. Looking to buy or sell a house, be sure to reach out to Sydnee.
Thanks, Brady. This has been so much fun.
Have a good one.
Thanks.